guys, in this video we're going to make a sausage dog cake. So I've baked a square cake. Now it's a little bit well done in one corner, but we're going to cut that off shortly. What I'm going to do is I'm going to divide my cake into 3. So it's 12 inches across and we're just going to divide it now. So measure it out and we'll cut that up. I'm just going to put in some jam. Now I've just bought some from the supermarket this time rather than making it myself. So just spread a layer onto your sponge. If your sponge is a little bit soft, you can pop it in the freezer for a little bit. I haven't done, so it is breaking a little bit as I'm pulling it apart. So I've layered up my second layer, and then I'm going to add a layer of buttercream. So I've got jam in one layer, buttercream in the other, but you can put both in both layers if you like. And then we'll add our top layer. So I've printed off a silhouette of the dog that I wanted. Just make sure it's about the size of your cake. So the head is a little bit taller, but my cake's about the size of the body. But what I'll do is I'll cut the head off and we'll use that as a separate piece. And we'll just squeeze that in the best we can on the other part of our cake and cut around it. Now mine's going to be a little bit chunkier than the silhouette, but it'll keep my cake a little bit sturdier if I'm not cutting it too thin at the legs. And we're just going to trim around now for the head. Again, if it's a bit soft, just stick it in the freezer for 10 minutes or so just to firm it up. Okay, and then we'll attach the head on with a bit of buttercream. And now what we're going to do is we're going to fully cover the body in buttercream. Try and get it as smooth as you can. As you can see, buttercream isn't a strong point of mine, so you can spend a bit longer than I have done neatening it up. And what we're going to do is we've just got some pre-coloured black fondant that we're going to roll over. Now, again, just be careful not to tear it as you're going over, like I have done. We'll rub those little creases back out, or those little tears back out shortly. But before it has time to dry and crack anywhere else, we're going to start rubbing it, pressing it around the outside edge of our cake. And then I'm going to cut off all these little bits around the edge. Just give them a light smooth off with your hands, and I'm going to put a little dint under sort of where the jaw would be, towards the neck. Just sort of underneath him where the legs would be at either side. Just rubbing in lightly with my finger to create a little dint, just to give him a bit more shape, and then slightly above each foot. Now you can see my cracks a little bit, but we'll cover those up when we add our next bit of colour. And we're just going to draw a line in with a modelling tool. I've just got a Dresden tool here, just to push in a little bit deeper so that it looks like there's 2 feet on each side. Now I'm going to put a little bit of buttercream on my board just to stick it in place. And we're going to move that over. Now if your cake's been in the freezer a little bit, you'll be able to pick it up and move it over. If it hasn't, you will have to be careful because it will break as you're moving it over. So next we're going to use some teddy bear brown colour. So I've just bought this one pre-coloured again, and I'm just going to roll it out nice and thin. Now I'm just using water anywhere that I want to stick this, and I'm going to have a little bit of colour just on the underside of the belly. So I'm going to put my strip on, and then I'm going to cut it to the shape. So from the underside of the belly, and then I'm also going to take it across to the feet as well. So I want it so it's on the front of the feet, or front of the legs, and on the feet. So I'm going to roll out another piece now that's going to go over the face. So when I've added the water, it's just on the very bottom of like the nose part and just the top of the chest. So stick that on there, and I'm going to cut out, leaving a bit on the nose, bringing down it a little bit up and round to the chest. And then we're going to just push in a little mouth, just again using the Dresden tool. You can use a knife if you prefer though. Just be careful you don't cut too deep because you don't want to come through to the sponge. We want a little ball at the end of the nose in black for the actual nose itself. And then we're going to put a bit more of the brown, this time on the front feet. So again, just roll it nice and thin, and then we'll cut around to the shape we want. And then you're going to put the little toes in just by dinting in with the tool, the modelling tool. Now the ear is just a nice simple shape in the fondant. So again in black, it's kind of a bit like a triangle, but I've rounded off the corners of each bit. And then for the tail, I've just rolled a piece of black fondant. Now I've kept it really thick, but I've rolled it so it's thicker at one end than the other. So can you see, nice and thin at one end and chunky at the other, which will be the end that will touch onto the bum. So I'm going to cut this out. So we've got a strip of it. It's slightly narrower again at the top. And I'm just going to position this on my board. So I've kept it thick so that it will stand up on its own. And of course you don't have to eat the tail bit because it is quite a lot of fondant. Just put a little bit of water under it to hold it in place. And for the eye, I've just pushed a small dint in the eye hole with my finger. And I'm just going to put a ball of white fondant in there. I'm going to give him a little eyelid. So just squish a bit of an oval shape in the black. And then we're going to overlap it so it's partially over the white eye. Put a little bit of water just under there as well. Now I've got a bit of grey for the eye, but you can use whatever colour you like. So push in another circle, make sure it's nice and flat, and then a smaller circle in black, just in the centre of the grey, and an even smaller circle of white. And then I'm just going to push the eyelid back down so it comes partially over that eye. And that's it, that's the sausage dog cake. So a nice easy one to do. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button and leave me a comment below. You can see more of my tutorials by clicking on the images on screen now. If you haven't already, make sure you click the subscribe button to stay up to date with my future tutorials. There are also links in the description box below where you can find me on Facebook, Instagram and more.